What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick.
My name's Nathan.
And this is Full Throttle Cars. Today we're going to be reviewing this 2022 BMW M550i. Alright guys, so here's a cold start on the BMW M550i.
Alright guys, so just looking up under the hood, you can see that this is extremely packed in here. So the thing that you might not be able to tell is a motor because everything is so tight is right here. That is a 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque, 4.4 liter turbocharged engine.
Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the outside now before we jump onto the inside, just to give you guys some of the design aspects of this. One of my favorites are these daytime running lights right here. I mean, just check these things out. They are really cool looking, and they're not even on right now, and you can still visibly see them. They look very nice whenever you're just driving along with the white LED look. Very nice style on those lights. We've also got the shadow line trim package on here, which is all these black accents here, like the grille is black, all these trim pieces are black all the way around as well, like up here on the mirrors. I think that looks very nice with this really cool gray color. Now if it was a little bit sunnier, you could see more of the metallics in here, but I don't think you can really see that very much. Let me just see. Maybe you can a little bit if you look up in here. But this is called, I believe, Bernina Gray, and it's a really cool gray color with, again, some of those like goldish metallics in there. Hopefully the sun comes back out a little bit more and we can show you guys that in full effect. Alright guys, so the sun is out now and we can definitely see some of these metallics. I hope they come through on camera. I think they are coming through pretty well. There's some really neat gold metallics here in this gray paint.
Alright, so one of the immediate things that you can notice are the really big brake rotors and calipers right here behind. These are really cool wheels as well. You can take a look. You have this red brake caliper that's in the middle of this just large gray and black vehicle. And I actually think it looks pretty cool. What do you guys think?
Alright guys, so another really neat feature on here are these tail lights. I just think they look really good, especially with this gray color. You've got the big, kind of like a J shape right here, but very nice bright red, and when they're off, they're kind of like a more clear, you can see, with a little bit of a darker tint to them. I just think they look very good with this gray paint especially. Alright guys, another design feature here. We've got what looks like a dual exhaust on the beginning. However, you've got two pipes per one of these sides. You can see there's another one over on the other side. We've also got a really nice diffuser down here, which is a slightly darker color than this gray, and I just think it looks very nice as well with this gray.
Alright guys, so before we hop into the interior of the vehicle, I just want to show you one more thing on the exterior, and that is this brake. So if you look down up close, you can see the like button that you are smashing right about now. So looking at the interior at the door as well, you can see it does have a Harman Kardon audio system, and then you can see it has this nice aluminum looking trim right here, and then it does have stitching to the leather pretty much over the entire door, except for the little bit of, you know, the fake leather plastic material at the bottom.
Alright guys, so we're just going to kind of go through a couple of the infotainment things. This does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It has a lot of other stuff on here as well. One thing I want to note, check this out. So this is a big high horsepower V8, but we're still getting 22.5 miles per gallon on average over that, about 2,200 miles. So actually it's a relatively fuel efficient car. That's not much worse than my Acura TL, and I think that's better than my 350Z. So yeah, it's actually pretty decent on fuel for being such a big engine. I think the turbo does help with that a little bit. But anyways, let's take a look at the driving data. So you can see here just a bunch of different things. It's showing you your average mile per hour, MPG, auto start stop, which is interesting. I don't know exactly what that means.
It could possibly be the time that the auto stop has actually engaged and turned the car off.
That seems like a long time, so actually that probably does add up to some pretty decent fuel efficiency savings. if you think about that, I mean, that looks like an hour and 35 minutes being off. So that's really interesting. I didn't even know it would show you something like that. But then over here, you've got your average mile per gallon. You've got your showing red when you're in sport mode. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit lower. Then you have your comfort / adaptive mode when you're just cruising on the highway. You can see here, obviously, it's going to be a little bit higher there. It looks like we've never driven it, or he's never driven it in Eco Pro mode, because there's no blue on there. But really, if you just have it in adaptive, it probably does pretty close to the same thing. So we can also go back out of here and go to sport displays, which you can see some different stuff. You got your G meter, which is really neat. I guess this would be boost pressure up here, oil temperature, then you got your torque and horsepower gauges, also really neat. I wish we would have shown you guys that while we were driving, because we actually filmed the driving clips before we filmed these interior clips. So unfortunately we did not get any of these clips later on in the video, but maybe we'll have to do that sometime in the future. Then you can also go over here to energy flow, which while you're driving you'll see where the energy is going to which wheel. So it's a really neat feature also. Alright guys, so just a couple more settings here. You got your general settings, where you can go through here, you put it in valet mode, but you can go down through here to engine sound, and you can change this to sporty, balanced, or reduced, whatever you want. And I believe this is actually for startup also. So when you start it up, it'll always be in the sporty, loudest note that you can get from the exhaust, which is really neat that you can do. Over here you got your drive mode settings. You can configure these, and you got your individual and stuff like that. But I'll just show you all the different stuff you can change in here. Oh, also I wanted to show you, I'm sure you saw, but it is really neat how it highlights all these things in here. You can see the suspension, you got the steering, it just goes all the way down to show your steering rack too, your engine, transmission. Oh my gosh, that actually goes to the interior transmission selector, which is interesting, rather than the actual transmission itself. But just some interesting little graphics to show you that is kind of neat to see, that you don't see in a lot of vehicles.
It's a pretty consistent theme throughout the entire infotainment system, really, as it shows some kind of graphic on the vehicle. So actually, if you touch down on the left side trying to move your seat, it will move that. So I'll do it right now. I'm going to touch it, and all of a sudden it just pops right up. Nick did not do anything right without touching the system. All I did was look right down here. I'll touch that, and it goes right back up.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There must be some sort of sensor down there, because I'll put my hand down here, or actually maybe it won't work right now because my leg's over top of it also. But yeah, just a really interesting thing. Also, right here you can see the lights are on when you're on the exterior lighting. Something really neat. And when you go into here, it'll actually put on the turn signal on the screen. Just again, going along with this really interesting graphics that this thing has. Also to note, this is actually an M550i BMW right here. So it's not just some standard 5 Series. It is actually the M550i. So we can just go through a couple more things. You get your driver assist features here. You can look at these things. This is not fully equipped. It does have, I believe, what did we say it had? Lane keep assist, maybe, or lane mitigation, something like that, to where it'll tell you if you're going out of your lane. I guess you can see right here, cross traffic warning.
It actually had corrective lane keep assist, so it was gonna actually steer you a little bit. You could see that in one of the safety
and warnings, yeah.
Intervention.
Active blind spot detection. You got steering intervention, which, yeah, if you want it to steer you back in, you can have that option. Going over here, you can just change up the displays a little bit. You can see here, changes with your driving mode. That's not really that interesting. Interior lighting though, you have a lot of different colors for the interior lighting. Unfortunately right now we're out in the daylight. It's really sunny. We will go back outside and show you some of those metallics, but we actually did that already in this video, but just mentioning that. So you can't really see the light in here, but you can see all the different colors you can put in here, and they all show up on here, which is really neat.
Alright, so an additional thing that I want to mention about the interior here is that you do have a wireless charger down there. So you have your USB port, and then it's just big enough to fit a iPhone, the Pro Max, so like a 12 Pro Max or a 13 Pro Max right down in there.
We've also got an interesting note on this key here. You've got the M performance stripes right here on the key. So this is a little bit different of a key than your regular normal BMW 5 Series or any non-M BMW key.
Right, so right as you were to hop right into this car, you can immediately look at the seats and tell that this is very nice. You have this quilted, stitched leather. It's just very nice on the interior. It really gives you a luxurious, classy feel. And then you can see the glossy black plastic. And then just looking around, you can tell this is very luxurious on the inside.
Alright guys, so jumping into this car here, we've got the rear end now, the back passenger seats that carry over the same nice materials. You've got the quilted or stitched leather here on the door sill, as well as the nice metal trim. You've also got the M logo there on the door sill, the Harman Kardon speaker here in each side of the doors. You've got the same nice quilted stitching here in the middle of the back seats, as well as they are leather. Same nice materials. And then coming down here, you've actually got heated seats here in the rear, as well as 2 USB-C ports. Alright guys, so that's it for the interior and walk around of this car. We're going to jump on the road and get some driving clips.
Alright, so just I want to mention that while Nick is driving right now, you can see the screen that's right in front of the steering wheel, and that is entirely a digital screen. Right on the right you have your RPMs, on the left you have your speed, and I just think it's a pretty cool animation because right in the middle you have your maps. So that would be really handy with navigation to be able to see that right there while also have your speed in a digital format and with an analog stick.
Alright guys, here's just a little acceleration in comfort mode. I'll put it into sport mode later. That was 60 right there. This thing is properly fast, and that was only in comfort mode. Good sound out of there, but we'll definitely put it into sport mode to see if we can tell a difference. 0 to 60 in this thing happens in under 4 seconds. I believe somewhere around the 3.6 second range, which is just absurdly fast. This is really a baby M5. Alright guys, so again we are on a kind of a little bit of a curvy road. We're still in comfort mode. We're just going to kind of drive normally right now. This thing does feel very comfortable on a ride. It's not ultra sporty like maybe the M5 or the M5 CS would be, to where you have a really stiff suspension where you feel all the bumps. You certainly do feel the road a little bit, but it's very comforting and it has good dampening on it, on the suspension. So you really are pretty comfortable in here when you're just driving it around normally. Alright guys, so I'm going to swap it into sport mode here. You just hit the sport button down here. You've got sport, comfort, eco, pro, and adaptive, and it will learn how you're driving and configure things however it thinks you would like them. So we've got it in drive. I'm going to pop it over into manual so we can use the paddle shifters right here. We are in sport, so we will get a little acceleration out of here for you guys. That was just a short little acceleration. You kind of can tell a little bit there. It's kind of stiffened up a little bit, I feel like. Take the corners tighter. Really, really quick again. Definitely the fastest car I've ever driven. Granted, I haven't had that much experience with really high horsepower cars. This thing has 523. It's got a really nice sound to it too. Just on this curvy road in here. Again, very quick response as well when I'm coming out of those corners. Give it a little gas and it goes. A really, really fun car to drive.
Alright guys, so I'm sitting here in the passenger seat right now, and I just want to mention and maybe reiterate a couple things on what Nick said. I can definitely feel the road a little bit more than if I was in another car, because this definitely is extremely sporty, but I am pretty comfortable just sitting here. The seats are very nice. I do feel comfortable inside this car. It feels very luxurious on the inside.
Alright guys, one last acceleration here in sport mode and in manual mode. That exhaust really opens up in sport mode, and I was getting it in higher RPMs now that I'm in manual mode. This thing sounds really good, almost like a muscle car with that big kind of deep grumbly V8 sound. Really, really cool and really, really quick. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for this video today. If you enjoyed, be sure to go down, drop a like, and subscribe. Share the channel, drop us a comment, let us know what your favorite thing about this BMW is. Would you buy this instead of an M5, which is like $20,000 or $30,000 more? This thing, I think, is a great value for what you're getting. Almost very similar performance, at least 0 to 60 wise, from an M5. So again, a really cool car, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And with that said, we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.